This happened about a year ago. We used to live in this society called Al Jaleel Garden in Pakistan. I was quite familiar with the place as I went out on a walk daily to burn some calories in the park nearby after dinner and often used to go to this store near our house. It took about 10 minutes or less to get to that store from our house. It was this one evening at around 7 or 8 p.m. when it was raining. It was a rain season, but that day it rained a little heavily, so the electricity went out. I had to go get groceries that my mom asked me to for dinner, but I couldn't because of the rain. As soon as the rain stopped, I headed out to the store. Everything was still wet outside, obviously. I kind of like walking in this type of weather at night, but it was a little too dark for my liking. The only place lighting up the road a little bit was this cafe called Gloria Jeans, which I assume had their own generator. As I crossed this roundabout and made my way to a path leading to the store. On one side of this path, there was the road. On the other side, there was a small area covered by grass, and then there were walls surrounding it. The area behind the walls was outside the society, I think. I never really knew what was on the other side until this day. With the cafe now far behind me, it was quite dark and there was nobody around. Now, once I got on this path, I mentioned, I heard something. At first, it sounded like a dog, a small dog. It made the kind of noise they do when they're hit or something. When I looked at the other side of the path where the sound was coming from, all I saw was darkness, pitch black darkness. Worried that an animal might be hurt, I thought of checking the place out, but then it felt as if the sound was coming from behind the walls. As I was just thinking about what I should do, the sound started to become unrecognizable. I couldn't tell if it was a dog now, and soon it turned into a sort of child crying. It was a high-pitched sound of a child and dog hybrid. That's the best way I can put it. I was getting scared at this point, but I also wanted to know what that was, but it was too dark to see anything. I thought the sound was coming from behind the walls, but suddenly, I felt the sound closer to me, then even closer. That's when it sent shivers down my spine. I have never, in my whole life, felt that sort of fear except for maybe when I had sleep paralysis for the first time. With that child animal crying hybrid type of sound getting closer and closer towards me. I moved behind with full speed, not thinking about anything except for getting the hell out of there. I did not even account for any cars behind me, so I'm really lucky there weren't, or else I'd surely have been hit by one. I kept going until I reached the roundabout again. I just gathered myself for a few minutes before getting second thoughts like, maybe there was someone who needed my help, but why did I felt as if it was approaching me? Either way, there was no way I'd go there alone. As I stood there on the other path next to the roundabout, I saw a group of 4 to 5 guys heading to the same direction. Curious as to what it was I heard, I decided to go with them. I was a short distance behind those guys, but I felt so much safer knowing there were more people with me this time. As we got to that point again, I reached out for my phone and turned on the flashlight and pointed it to the side where the voice was coming from earlier. For better or worse, I don't know why I didn't do that before. As I looked to the side, there was no sign of anyone there, and there was not even the faintest sound this time. All I saw was this wall. I got the store, got the stuff, and took a long way back home to avoid that one path. When I got home, I told my parents everything and the possibility that might still be some child on the other side of the wall, getting beaten badly and needed help. I just couldn't get this possibility out of my head. My father, after listening to me carefully and confirming if that's the path I was talking about and if I was sure, he then said something I would never forget. On the other side of that wall is a graveyard. I never really believed in such things, but after what happened to me that day, I really don't know. The hardest part of it is explaining that horrifying sound. Even writing this got a tear or two in my eye. So, this happened 2 days ago. I, 25F, was on a date with a girl, 21F, let's call her Lex, and it was going super well. We've been talking for the better part of a year. Her coworker invited us and her roommate, 25M, let's call him Kyle, to a party. It went super well, had a blast, and on our way back he drove in front of us while we took her motorcycle back and followed him. This is where it all goes wrong. He randomly turned into a parking lot, so we followed him and it turns out he was passed out in the driver's seat. We did not realize he was this drunk. Lex tried to wake him up, and when he got out of the car he just started beating the shit out of her. So I ran over and pulled him off of her, and started beating him. Put up a good fight until he took me to the ground and started strangling me, then grabbed me by the hair and started bashing my face into the pavement repeatedly. Also, this guy is 6 feet 2 inches and I'm 5 feet 3 inches. I started to fight back even harder to get him to stop because I thought he was going to kill me, so I clocked him really hard and he stood up, bleeding all over me and said, "I'm going to kill you." At this point, Lex picked me up from the ground and just screamed, "Run." So we ran in opposite directions into the woods and he followed me. I was much faster, so I was hiding in the woods while he walked around going, "Oh Gabby, fake name, come out wherever you are, I'm gonna f***ing kill you." So I wound up army crawling through the woods so he couldn't see me, and hiding there until I couldn't hear him anymore. Lex had run the opposite direction, so she wound up by the road and flagged down a rando to call the cops, and they came and found me hiding in the woods. He broke her jaw and may have fractured my skull, waiting on the CT results. So yeah, there you have it. Hands down the most terrifying thing I've ever been through. I'm 19, I live in Greece. Drinking age is 18, it's Christmas 3 to 4 in the morning and am returning home from a nice night out. It was pretty chill, many friends showed up but nothing crazy happened, just laughing, sharing stories, no one got shit-faced, no drama, no breakups, hookups. It was really pleasant. I live on what it is called Grape Rose. It's usually a huge, extremely busy road connecting to the city, and behind it, rows upon rows of houses all next to each other. Those streets are pretty quiet, which was cool growing up because we could play sports on the street. Every 500 meters or so there would be a connecting road connecting you to all the other roads. As you go up the Grape Rose, street lights become scarce. At first you see the two street lights meeting each other. As you go up there is a street light, then 300 meters of darkness, then another light. I live at the tippy top of the Grape Rose. This night happened to be extremely windy, so windy you could barely hear anything. As I'm coming close to a connecting road, I make sure to look left and right in case I don't hear a car coming up. On my right, about 500 to 300 meters away from me, I see a white square perfectly hovering 1-3 meters from the street. At first I thought it might be an albatross sitting on a garbage bin, and the bin beneath it's not visible, but why would a garbage bin be in middle of the street? Then I thought it might be a white suitcase on top of a black car, but still, with all the windows of a car there is still some reflection even from a black car. I kept staring at this thing. I started noticing it was very slowly coming towards me. There was literally nothing beneath it. This white square was not making any living moves, it was perfectly hovering. Then two sticks came from the side of it, making it shaped like a cross. Then the white square started coming towards very fast. I started sprinting with everything I got. I never looked back. It was really windy, it was so noisy, I could only hear my breathing and my heartbeat, which made me focus on my run. The wind gave a nice breeze towards my face and the adrenaline was making my sprint effortless. After 4.5 kilometers of running, my legs shut down. Like a switch I fell on the street. I look back, the white cross, it's almost at me. The white cross stops, I hear laughing. A neighbor was sitting on the steering wheel of a black bicycle, completely covering the driver of the bicycle, and the bicycle itself. He was wearing a glow-in-the-dark long-sleeve shirt and the rest of his outfit was black. He was holding his arms out while the other guy was bicycling behind him. The bicycle is surprisingly thin if you look at it facing you. The neighbor said while laughing, "You must have looked at your face, you were so scared, Did you think we were gypsies? First of all, that's racist. But I didn't want to admit what I truly thought. I believed in alien or ghost hybrids for 30 minutes while running for my life.